So sorry for joining late. Yeah, good evening, Daniel. Can you hear me? Hello, Daniel. Good evening. Can you hear me? Hello, good evening, Daniel. Can you hear me? I don't know why this video is not okay. Oh, sorry. Hello, good evening, Daniel. Can you hear me? If you are speaking, your mic is muted. If you're speaking, your mic is muted. If you are speaking, your mic is muted. I just remembered something. Did you hear what just happened now?
You just started recording.
Exactly. So please, so that we don't miss any class, because that has happened. Because you guys you didn't join early. I don't really want you guys to experience like some time of silence and all. Do you get? That's why I do pause the video so I can wait for everybody to join. Wow, with everything we've done. Suleiman, we didn't record your review. Sorry about that. So please, let's note if we are recording or not, so we can actually work with each other. Do you get? So let's take notes anytime we are recording. And if I'm recording, you can even ask me if you're not sure that, please, are you recording? So we can know that we are all on the same page. So it will look like I'm just doing everything. Please, I hope you guys, I hope that's very clear.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, thank you very much. All right, so we said we have three types of CSS. We said we have the internal, we have the inline, sorry, the inline, the internal, and then the external. So how does the inline work? The inline is just where you put it in between your element, that is directly within your HTML tag. So in between now, I'll just type style. So if I put style here, I can say, okay, let me add color here. I'm still going to explain what this is. I'll say color red. If I say color red here, if I say color and I say red here, definitely the text should change to red. That is what this means. The text here should change to red. Don't worry, we are still going to see how to actually change the text to red. Or let me just show you once and for all, so we can also move a bit fast with it. All right, so let me share my screen here and then, okay, let me copy parts. I believe you guys, you know how to copy part though. All right, so can you see that the text is red here? I hope you can all see it.
Yes, we can see.
Okay, so you can see that the text here,
Sorry,
the text
can you show me how you copy part?
Oh, I bet me don't remember how we copy parts. Okay, let's do it together. So on the index.html, you're going to right click. So once you right click, then you see copy part here. Then you paste it on your browser. So is that clear now? Hey, if you're speaking, you're muted. Oh.
Oh, okay, yes. I know, I saw that. Thank you.
Okay, so is that clear now?
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much for confirming that. But please don't let us forget again. Oh. All right, so now what we just did now is called inline CSS. That's what we just did now. So there's another one called internal CSS. How does it work? You come to the header, to the head tag. You can see the head tag here. So inside the head tag, you come here, you put space, you type style. So in between the style tag, you put space again, then you start typing anything you want to type. But now, before you start typing, you consider this place. When I wanted to style, I was styling a specific tag. Like, for example, if I come here and then I say p tag, and I put welcome to, oh, I wrote something else. Welcome to Paddy code. Welcome to Paddy code. Okay, so if I say welcome to Paddy code here, I'll just let's share our screen so we can see. Let me refresh. All right, so you can see welcome to Paddy code here. You can see one is red and one still remains the same color. Right? Hey, I believe you guys can hear me. Okay, so one is red and the other one still maintains the same color. That's because I only styled one of them. I didn't style the other one. I don't know if you guys get what I'm trying to say.
Yes.
Hey, Abayomi is not saying anything. No?
Yes.
Okay, okay, cool. Because I only styled one of them. I didn't style the other one. All right, so now if I come to this place now, inside the style, that's where we now have something called, I won't say something, we have a thing called selectors. That's where our selectors comes in. That is our syntax, our normal syntax. So how does the syntax work here? Because I want to use that to explain it once and for all, so we don't have to keep going back and forth with our learning and everything. So now you can see we have CSS syntax and selectors here. So if you look at this syntax very well, the basic syntax is just that we have our selector, we have property, and we have value. So what does selector mean? Selector is just like saying that if no, when I wanted to say something the other time, I called somebody's name. I called Abayomis first, right? I called Daniel and I called Suleiman. Why? Because I'm actually specific with who I'm calling. I didn't say everybody. If I say everybody, everybody want to speak at the same time. Do you get? If I say, oh, everybody in this class, we are all learning HTML. Fine, that shows that everybody is learning HTML, right? If I give an instruction that, oh, everybody in this class, we are all starting JavaScript today. Fine, we are all starting JavaScript. But if I say, okay, fine, Daniel, you are starting JavaScript today. You can see that I've put I am more specific about who I'm talking to. So definitely, I've singled Daniel out to learn JavaScript. So that shows that every other person in the class will still remain with the curriculum, with the current curriculum. Just Daniel alone is just he will be the only one learning JavaScript. Do you get? So now the selector is like you're picking somebody, you are picking a tag. Now you know you're not picking anyone, you are picking a particular tag. You're picking a p tag, you're picking a let me say you're picking a h2 tag, h3 tag, h4 tag. You're picking an anchor tag, that's our a tag. You're picking different tags. Do you get? That's what the selector, that's what it means. So inside the selector here, you now want to have properties. You know, if I say my properties of like how do I say it now? As a complete human, you have to have your hand is working, you have your hand, you have your eyes, you have your mouth, you have your nose, you have your ears and everything. So now if you look at all those things now, they are all like property of part of human body, that is part of human, all those things. Now for us to like add the part of for the selector, that is we want to add color, we want to add font size, we want to add background color, we want to add different things, just that you want to design that particular thing you selected. How do you do that? That's where the properties and the values comes in. Because if you call color blue, color name so this one just so like it's just the way when we're coming. God said country Nigeria, skin black color, um height, he said, okay, you'll be so height. You know, like all these things, you can see those are actually properties. Now, everybody, we all have our skin color. We all have like our originality. Like let's say you're going to be giving birth to in Nigeria or probably US or any other place. You get so now all those things now they are all properties. Now the value is the one giving name or meaning to that property. Because if God said, okay, fine, this guy, you are going to be a Nigerian, that is the value. Nigerian is the value to that property, to the state, to the country of birth. Country of birth applies to everybody, but the value varies. That is, the value changes. Do you get? And the fact that the value is changing, that shows that that property is actually for everyone. It's just that it's just the value that is going to be changing. So I just want us to see it that way. So the moment I start writing something, then you'll be able to relate more with it. So this is just the basic syntax. Let me see if there's another. Okay, that's just the basic syntax that you want to know. So let's see how we can actually work with it. So if I come to our VS Code, so now VS Code, now I mentioned something about internal, right? So now if you look at this internal, what do I want to do? I want to I want to use my selector. Now I said selectors are like tag names, right? That you want to use to select a particular thing. So now if I'm selecting P tag, if I pick P here, so when I select P tag, the next thing I want to have, I will have my space, then I will have my curly braces here. So inside the curly braces, I will have the other one to close it. Then I'll press, look at it, I have the other one to close it. Then I press enter in the middle. So you can see, if I ask you now, Abayomi, what does font size, what does it mean? Is it a property or a value?
I think it's font. I think it's property.
Is a property, right? So because the value can change, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So color, what about color?
Color.
Is it a property or a value?
Value.
How is it value? I said
It's an
color.
additional information to that you are
So
giving
is
the
it
font
color?
size.
Is it color or no? Look at it very well. You know, I said something. I said when God created human being, right? We have
Yes.
country of origin, right? Or let me say country of birth. We have color, skin color. We have, we have different things, right? We have different
Yes.
things. Okay, good. So the fact that we have different things are just like making up that particular element. What we are trying to do here is that we are trying to make up this P tag. Do you get? So definitely we can have multiple things here, multiple information here. So now what I'm trying to explain is that this font size now, is a property, right? While this
Yeah.
20 is a value. I want us, do you know why I'm saying all this? I'm saying all this because
Okay.
when we
Font
get to
size is a property. Color is
uh-huh,
property as well. 28
uh-huh,
is a value,
a
and blue is a
value.
value.
Is the value exactly. Do you know I'm explaining it this way? I'm explaining this way so that when you get to JavaScript, you won't have issues when we are doing some other things. Do you get? That's what I'm explaining this way. So it's more like I'm preparing our mind down in the simplest way that we can actually understand things. So that when we get to JavaScript, it will look like, oh, I've never heard of this thing before. I don't really know how this thing works. Do you get? Of course, I won't be saying property and value when we get to JavaScript. No, that's not what I'm saying. I'll be saying something different, but it's also the same thing. Not like it's one kind of different thing. It's also the same thing. All right. So now that you know that font size is property, and then we added the value to it. We have color. We have blue. That's the color. That's the value we added to it. So let's see if something is going to happen here. So, okay, go. So let me go. This. All right. So let me refresh. All right. So did you notice anything here? We picked P tag, right? And we said color should be blue. And then it's just the second one that is blue. What about the first one? What happened to it?
Second one became bigger.
Sorry, the second one became bigger.
The first one was it takes the same size as the second one as well.
Second one became bigger, right?
Bigger, yes.
Okay. So
Yes.
second one became bigger, and then the
The first
color changed.
change, yeah, they have the same font size of 20 pixels.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. So let's go back now so you understand what is going on here. So if you look at it very well, you can see that the first thing I did here, we have two P tags here. The first one. So the first one here, the first one. is the first P tag, right? I did inline CSS for it. The second one, I just did a normal general. I didn't pick the second one. You can see the one that has more effects now. Trying to connect, my network is still not so strong. Okay. I think Prosper is trying to join. He said his network is not so strong. All right. So yeah. So now this P tag. Oh, wow. Please, sorry. Still confused what's going on. My inverter is dead. Sorry, I'm coming, please. Let me pause the class. Recording. All right, cool. So yes, so I was saying we have the normal P tag here. So with this P tag now, so the next thing we want to do is that this P is called a selector because we are using this P to select everything. So now, if you look at it very well, you see that the first P has an inline selection, while the other P doesn't even have anything. We just selected it randomly. That shows that this one here is a general P. That is all the P's in the code. We have this particular font size and this particular color. If I duplicate this now, let me duplicate this P so we can see. Let me duplicate and then okay, let me refresh. So you can see this one too. Welcome to Paddy Code. You can see it picks the same style and the same font size. But if I should okay. So if I should say I want to take out this particular style here, let me do Control X. I'll cut it so I can paste it back when we are done testing the whole thing. So if I go over here, let me refresh. So if I should refresh now, can you see that they all have the same thing here? Like the same color.
Yes.
Okay. So now if you notice it very well, you will notice that I think it was Suleiman that said they have different font size. If you look at it very well, they all have the same font size, all this one. But because the text is actually not the same, that's why you were thinking they don't have the same font size. It is just the color that is different. Now, that particular P tag, that general P tag, I mean this particular P tag here, where is it? This particular P tag here. You know, before we added something like this to it. Let me do Ctrl Z. We added this to it before, which is actually inline styling. That shows that inline styling has more is more specific compared to this particular styling, compared to this internal styling. Because look at it. It shows that this one overrides this. I hope you guys noticed it. That this one here, this red color actually overrides this one. I hope you guys noticed that because you saw the
Yes, that's
changes,
true.
right?
Yes.
So you saw that this one here, it actually it overrides this particular one. That shows that this one is more specific compared to this one. And why is it more specific? When you have this normal P tag here, this normal P tag is for every other tags. I hope you guys are getting me. This normal P tag here is for every P tag in the code. That's what the P tag is doing. But you know, all the P tags here are just there. But this particular one here, this inline, this one is now more specific. That's the reason why this one has more that this one overrides this particular one. So that shows that inline actually overrides what? Internal. So I hope you guys understand what I mean by internal styling now. All you just need to do is come to the head parts of the code. So when you get to the header part, you add your style tag. Then inside your style tag, you put your selector. Then you put your curly bracket, and then you start putting your property and your value. Can you see it's that simple, right? So the next one we have is the external styling. So now the external styling is now creating an external file, an external .css file. Remember, when we want to style HTML, we created .html file. So if you want to work with CSS now, you have to create .css file. So let's create our style.css. I'll do, let's see, styles.css. That's what I'll do. I'll do style.css. Let me do style.css. So if I do style.css, can you see I have my CSS file here? So now, since it's an external file, what I need to do is to link this particular file to this particular index.html. I want to link this style. I want to link it to this HTML because it's external CSS. So definitely we have to link them together so they'll be able to work together. So how do we link them now? You inside that same head, you will put space, then you type link. The moment you type link, just click on the HTML and CSS that you are seeing here. Just click on the CSS. Once you type the CSS, it's going to automatically fill for you. Then the name of your style. Now, if you look at my own style, I wrote style.css, style. So you can see this one is also style. So it's the same thing now. Now, when I get to this place, remember our selector and our property and value. So now our selector should be p tag, right? So inside it, I'll put our curly braces, then I'll come in, then I'll put font size 20px, then I'll also put color. So if I put color, I will say indigo. So if I write indigo here, so that means I'll come here to come and take this style. I'll come and take it out. Let me do Control X and save. I took that particular style, our internal style, I took it out. So you can see what I'm trying to say. So now let's go to our browser and then share. Okay, I want to make sure I'm recording. Okay, so let me refresh now. Can you see that our inline styling is still overriding everything?
Yes.
You guys are not saying anything.
Yes.
Can you
Yes.
see that it's
The
still
Yes.
overriding everything?
yes, the
Okay,
first one
good.
is overriding.
That shows that inline styling has more power compared to internal and external. It has more power compared to internal and external. So now I want us to now look at something here. Let me go back to my VS Code. So now I'm currently in my VS Code now. So if you look at everything now, let's imagine that I needed to put font size here. Font size. I needed to put font size here. I put font size. I put 20 px. I'll explain what px means later. I want to have font family and everything. I have font family. Look at it. Can you see that my code is going beyond my VS Code? I don't know if you are trying to it will go above this, it will go beyond this. Let me say font family. So you get what I'm trying to say. What's happening? That was before. All right. So can you see that it's going beyond this? Look at it already. Can you see that it's going beyond what is meant to go beyond? So let me say I want to pick this one. So if you look at it now, I have to be scrolling to the left and scrolling to the right to come back to this. I don't know. Do you notice what I'm trying to say?
Yes. Notice.
Okay. So I don't know. Prosper, are you here? Please, I want everybody to be here so we can all know what is going on. You guys are not saying anything, no?
Yes, I'm with
Oh,
you.
Daniel, Okay, you said is currently on the road. All right, so Abayomi, what's the update?
Yes, I'm with you.
Don't say you're with me. Oh. What's the update? What is going on here? Hmm?
You're saying that the inline color, how it overrides, the internal and the external. You're trying to show.
Hmm. 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 Okay. Okay. What I'm now trying to say is that which one actually takes look at the whole thing here. You can see that this one here, the inline, can you see that it's actually taking your code to other side. So it's actually, let's say for instance, you are meant to write like thousands of codes, right? If you're going to write thousands of code, that shows that you will write this thing is going to be messed up. So why not have your code on in your external file, then you link it to this place so that look at it though. You will notice that if I take this out, if I take all of this out, let me take all of this, let me take them out, let me save, let me add font family to this one. Font family. Let me pick anything. Look at it. Look at everything I added here. Look at everything I added there. Let's go to our VS Code and see what's going on here. So if I should refresh now, can you see that they are all the same thing? Hey, am I having network issue?
Yes.
Please. Okay. So if I go to my VS Code now, do you notice that my HTML is clear? Everything is well written, fine. Nothing is looking as if it's not even looking as if I've added a style to it. I hope you can notice that. Hmm. You are not saying anything.
You said what? Sorry, please come again.
Okay. I said, look at the style. I wrote a lot of styles here. And then here, I didn't write any style here. Everything looks clean here. But I still have the same design. I still have the same color. I still have the same font size. I still have the same font family. And our HTML is looking clean. Which one is more important now? If you look at it very well, you will see that the external is actually more organized compared to the inline or compared to the internal.
Yes. I think the external CSS is much better and makes your code cleaner
Yeah,
and well
exactly.
organized.
Yeah. So if you look at it now, there are no codes here and everything. I just every anything concerning style, I'll just come to this place, come and do it, and then I'll start my code and then I'll move
Sorry,
on.
I'm confused. I don't know which one
Okay.
is the external now.
Okay. So remember I wrote style in between the space, right?
Yes.
Okay. What did I call that one?
So I don't know.
In,
Maybe I missed that.
Ha.
in
What did I call it? Somebody should bail us out.
thing is the inline code.
In
Inline.
okay,
Okay.
I called it inline. All right, cool. So now I did one inside the head tag. I wrote style here. What did I call this one?
This is the internal.
Internal.
I call this one internal. So the fact that you're creating another extra file for your CSS and linking it down to this place, that shows that that file is an external file. Is that clear?
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, good. All right, so now you understand what external means, what internal means, and what inline, what it means, right?
Yes.
Okay, good. So we can now move ahead. All right, so now let's move ahead. Let me, okay, go to. All right, so yeah, I'll explain your thing. So now the common selector that we have the normal H1 selector. You know, if I pick H1, you know, if I, let's say for instance, I have H1 in my code, you will actually see the H1, right? Let me do that for us. Let me show us that. Let me share my, I'm sharing my screen now. Okay, cool. So let's say for instance, if I have H1 here, H1, and I say something like hello world, if I say hello world here, now if I should go to our browser, let's go to our browser to check this one. So if I go to our browser here, if I refresh this one now, can you see that hello world is still black and nothing is going on with hello world? Do you notice that?
Yes.
Okay. That
Yeah.
shows that we've not done any style to that hello world. We've not done any style to H1. The only style we did only applies for what? For our p tag. Makes sense? Nobody's saying anything. Is it making sense to us? Hello, I don't know. Is there a network or can you people hear me very well? Or probably the network is not going well. Or what's going on? Hello, can you all hear me well? Ah. Hello, can you all hear me?
Yes, but network is messing with my I mean, it's just going back and forth, but it's fine. I can hear you now.
You can hear me now. Okay, so what
Yes.
about Suleiman? Can you hear me? Yes, Suleiman is not here. I
Yes,
just
I
want to
can
make
hear
sure
you.
everyone.
I can hear you.
Okay, okay. Because I need to know, I need to hear our feedback. So, you know, we know how
Yes, I
Nigerians
can
can
hear
be.
you.
Please, let's hear our feedback because our feedback is actually very important so we can track our progress and know that we are all in class. Do you get? All right, so I was saying something. I said the H1 tag is not styled yet. That's actually what I said. So if take this down. So if I should come to my style. So from my style, I hope you can see my VS Code though. If you can't talk, you can type. Oh, please, can you all see my VS Code? Hello, Abayomi, are you here?
I can hear you now, sir.
You can hear me? Okay.
Yes.
Thank you very much for confirming that. Are you at home now?
No, I in the traffic case. I don't understand. But don't worry, I'll follow it up when I get back. I'll just go back to the
Okay.
record.
Okay. Thank you very much for confirming that. All right. So we have the P tag here, and I said something. I said we've not styled the H1 tag. So how do we style the H1 tag? I'll just come here. I'll put another space here. Then I'll use my H1 as a selector. Then I'll come over here. Then I'll put color. So this particular one here. Then I will say, let's say dark blue. I can say font size. I can say font size should be 10 px, so it will be very, very small. So if I should go to my VS Code now, so let me go to my VS Code share. So let me refresh. So if I should refresh now, you guys can see it is now very, very small. That shows that I've selected the H1 tag to style it. So I can select as many tags as possible while working on our VS, on our HTML. Do you get? I can start as many as possible. I can decide to pick any of them. So now, if you want to look at it, there are more tags that we can actually use. Right? All right. So there are more tags you can actually use. We have something called the class selector. We have ID selector, and the one we did was the normal H1, HP, and which is also group selector. So I'll explain the class selector now. So what does the class selector mean? The class selector is more like you have a particular container where you want to put I'm not saying you have to put it in the container there. You can actually put it inside it. You can have your class select anywhere, but it's just best practice is just to put it in a container, like to use it to group a particular thing, because obviously class does not have to be one thing inside it. It has to be like a collection of things, right? So if I take this down, let me take this down. Then I have a grouping tag, which is a div tag. Please note that a grouping tag, which is a div tag, you can use it to group as many things as possible. So inside it, I can say something like H1. So I can say this is party code. So if I say this is party code, I have my P tag here. I'll say this is first CSS class. This is our first CSS class. So I want to have another P tag. Enjoy your session. I want to enjoy your session here. So if you look at everything I have here, now how do I style all these things here? I want to pick them one by one so I can style them. That's where our selectors, our class selector, that's actually where it comes in. So now class selector, all you just need to do in front of the div tag, you put a space there, then you type class. So inside the class, you can decide to call it any name. You can see I called my container. You can decide to call it any name. You don't really have to use container. You can call it any name. The reason why I'm calling it container here is because so I can teach you guys, and then so you can understand what we are trying to say here. So now this is actually, I called it a container. So now the fact that I call it a container, when I get to my CSS, what do I want to do? I want to replicate this same container because I've given it a class of container. So how do I call the class, the container class? I will use my period sign, which is the normal dot sign. Then after having the dot sign, then I will type container. So now inside the container, I have background color. This is just like a lay down like thing that I can use. I have background color, I have padding, I have border radius. So border radius is the property, while 5px is the value. So and I'm very sure I've explained that. So if I save this now and then go to the browser, okay, so I'm here. So if I should refresh now, can you see? Oops. All right, so if I should refresh now, can you see we have a background here. We have a blue background here. We have padding, we have border radius. Don't worry, I'm going to explain all what padding, border radius. I'm going to be explaining what they all mean to us very soon. But you can see how the class selector can see how it works. All right, so we have another one called the ID selector. We have another one called the ID selector. So if you look at this, let me show you the ID. Let me go back to my VS Code. All right, so now that we've done the normal grouping for them, which is using class selector, you know that we have two p tags here. If you pick a particular p tag inside, if you pick a p tag inside the space, it will actually affect all of them. So how do you create ID for each of your tags? So if I want to create ID now, all I would just need to do is type ID. So when I type ID, the next thing I want to do is to say, I'm charging on hold. So it's to say, okay, what do I want to call it? So I can call this one first. So if I call it first now, the next thing, oops. So if I call it first, the next thing is to go to my, let me go to my style. So when I get to my style, I'll put dots. I'll say first. Then in the middle, I will say whatever I want to put. So let me say I want to add a background color to it. Background color. So I can say light green, padding 10, border radius 10, you know, kind of. So if I add all this property and value to it now, if I go over here, hey, you are making me explain everything without saying anything. No? Okay, so if I should refresh it now, something is going on. Okay, I already know what is going on. I believe you all can see my screen, right? You are not giving feedback. Oh. So to work with ID, it, then I would share my browser so you can see how it looks like here. All right, so can you see the color has changed to light green? That's because I added the style for light green and then I made the text to be a little bit bigger. That's what I did here. I made the text to be a little bit bigger and then I added some other things to it. Not much. I think there are about 3 things I added to it. All right, cool. So that is how you can pick, you know, using selector. Basically, that's how to use your normal selector. That's how to use your normal selector. The normal element selector, class selector, ID selector, grouping selector. Everything is cleared. So I've explained what the linking means. All right. So who is saying something? Who is saying something? So we have what we call comments. So how does it work? So now the way comments works is that this is the way comments works. Look at it. If I should go to I'm currently in my VS Code. Now I can comment in HTML. If I come here and I do, sorry. If I come to this place, look at it. I pressed Control /. That is what I pressed. Control / because I selected what I want to do. Then I'll do Control /. That's how to what? To comment in HTML. And it's almost the same thing everywhere. So now let's say I want to comment this padding. I'll just do Control /. That's actually going to comment it. Is that fine? You are not saying anything. Looks like I'm teaching myself.
Yes, it's fine, sir.
Oh, okay. So we have something called colors and background. Colors and background. So colors values, like we have the name color X, RGB, and HSL. Background properties, we have the normal background color, which I used earlier. We have the normal background image. We have background position, which are going to be using very soon. So the colors here, let me see what's going on here. Okay, so it said change the background color. The background color property specify the background of an element. I thought we've discussed background color. Okay, so we've not discussed background image yet. We've not discussed background image yet. We've discussed background color. So how do you work with images for a background now? How do you work with images for background? So all you just need to do to work with images on your background is just to come to your file. So once you get to your file, let me go to my file. Okay, so I'm currently in my file now. I'm currently in my file. I want to see how to add a background image. I want to see if I have any image here. Why do you have any image? Okay, I guess I've seen one. Okay, so I'll just Control C. Ah, this is not what I want to do. I'll just Control C and then come to this place. No, let me go inside images and paste it here. Paste this. All right, so I've pasted this inside my normal images now. So I'll paste this inside my images. So now the next thing I want to do is that I want to have a background image. So how do I undo the background image? How do I undo the background image? So how to undo it is more of adding a background image tag to your code. If you add the normal background image, then you are good to go. So now, if I should come here, look at my first background color, border radius. So I should come here now, just test it and everything. So I'll say background image. So if I say background image now, definitely I want to press what? Images. So when I press, let me take this down. Image, I want to pick a particular image. So now I will say this one is actually going to go inside images. Let me take this out. So I will say DevOps, or let me say DevOps. DevOps 2.png. DevOps 2.png. So let's go to VS Code. So I'm not trying to make sure that the direction I'm typing is actually very wrong. It's not wrong. That's what I'm trying to see. That's what my images are. DevOps. All right, cool. Thought I was doing was wrong. All right, so DevOps and everything, I've added this thing. So let's go and check it if it's going to work. Consider CSS we are using now. We are using CSS to add background image. Oh, can you see the background image here? Can you see that we use CSS to add background image? It's our project. We've used it to add background image to our, so this our background. We've added background image. So that means if you have a background that you want to add, you can decide to use HTML to add a particular background to your code. All right, so now the next thing we want to look at is background repeat. Background has a lot of things. So by default, the background images property repeats an image horizontally and vertically. So if you look at this very well, you will notice something that this image is actually repeating itself. If you look at it very well, you will notice that this image is repeating itself, which is actually one thing you want to stop. So how do you stop that now? So for you to stop that is just that you just come here. So you just come. I want to make sure everything is working very good. So now, if I want to see if everything is working very well. All right, so we have enjoy your session. We have this, so the background is there. So we want to say background repeat, no repeat. That's what I want to say. So if I say background repeat here, background repeat. So if I pick background repeat, I'll say no repeat. So if I say no repeat now, if I go over to our code, let's go to our code here. Share. So if I should refresh now, can you see that the background is no more repeating itself? The background is no more repeating itself now. The background is now normal. Do you get? The background is not normal. You cannot give it your own width or do whatever you want to do with it. But before it was actually repeating itself. That's why it didn't. But you might not really notice because it's actually a very large image. So you might not really notice everything there. All right. So we said background repeats. Now you can decide that it should repeat horizontally. You can decide to repeat vertically. At the background repeat, yes, it's going to repeat on the horizontally. It can repeat vertically. It can repeat like the way it repeats horizontally, and then background repeat, no repeat. I think we have to X there. So now text styling, yeah. We have the normal color, we have the font family, we have the font size, we have the font weight, we have the line height, we have the text align. Let's see what the first one we are going to pick. So now, font family, yeah. So font family, I believe you all saw me when I was picking font family the other time. Okay. So let me show us how the font family works. So now if you look at this now, I wrote font family here. Font family just like the fonts you have currently in your laptop. That's what font family, that's actually what it means. The current font you have on your laptop. So it's not something like difficult like that. It's just the way we wrote it here. That's what font family. That's actually what it does. So font family is not like one kind of big deal. All right, so the next thing is font size. I believe I use font size here. How big do you want your text to be? That's what font size means. All right, so I'm just trying to make sure. Okay, so now we have something called font weight. Font weight is just to make your code to be kind of a bit bold. That's what font weight does. So if I should come over here now, and I added, let me add like, okay, I think this one is kind of late. So I would say, come in, I want to see, okay, font weight. So if I say font weight now, I can start to pick 900 so that if I pick 900, I'm going to be very, very bold and very thick. Do you get? That's what font weight does. Let's see how it actually works. Let's see how it works. So let me refresh this now. Okay, so can you see our font weight there? If you look at it now, our font weight is now a bit what? Bigger. The body code. Wait to font weight. Okay, I selected the font size to be. I selected the font size to be 20 px. Let me refresh. Okay, good. So you can see this is what we have for now. That's what we have for now. All right, so we have the line height here. So you can decide to add line height to it too as well. See, major thing is just to know what works. That's the major thing. Oh, know that this one, oh, this is how it's going to work. Know that this one is actually going to work. The same way you used to discern if there is going to be, like, let's say if you're in school, you used to discern, oh, will there be class today? Oh, there won't be class today. That's the same way you're actually doing all these things too. Do you get? And we have something called text align. What text align does is just to like say, okay, text align center, text align left, text align right, text align middle. That's what text align. That's actually what it does. It does not really have any much problem or any much information like that. Okay, so the next one is we have the box model, right? So we have the margin, we have the padding, we have the border, and we have the content example. So if you look at all this one here, we have the div, we have the margin, we have the padding, we have the border IP, and 1px solid, and then black. That is just the shorthand. So let's see how the margin, padding, border, and content. Let's see how it works. So now we have something called margin, right? So margin, please, let's all pay attention to what we mean by margin. So margin is more like anything like space around a particular object. That's what margin means. Space around a particular object. That's what margin means. But if you are creating space in between yourself, that's what padding. That's actually what it means. If you are creating space in between yourself, that's what padding. That's actually what it means. If you are pushing content out there, you are what? You are, I would say, if you are like if you have space around, if you have space around, like you have a particular compound and then you have space around it, that's your margin. Do you get? That is your margin. That's your margin. So you want to put at the back of your mind that, oh, anytime I'm working and I want to style something in between a particular container, in between, though, I don't say outside though, that's what this thing. That's what that's margin. But the fact that you are creating space in like no, that's padding. The fact that you are creating space outside, that is margin. If you're creating space outside, margin. If you're creating space inside, padding. So please let's note that as well. But I'm going to be doing everything so you can actually see how this actually works. If that will be the last one we are going to do, sef. So I don't really take you guys much. Then on Saturday we are going to see how we can actually go on stretch and then make sure we finish the whole thing. Not like the whole manual, but at least we do some things in CSS. So let's see how margin works. Since people have decided not to talk again.
Okay, we are with you, sir. We are still with you.
Okay. Thank you very much. All right, so I was saying about we're discussing about the margin, padding, border, and the likes. So now, if I want to work a margin here, now if you look at this container, if I go to the styles, where is the style? Wow. Okay. So if I should come here, so now I will say dot container. Dot container. Okay, I think is the container correct? I just correct it then. All right, so now, how do you now do margin now? So if I want to do margin now, so let's say I'll give it a background color, or blue. If I give this one a background color of blue, I give it a text of white. Now, if I should go to my VS Code, right? Let's go to our VS Code. Let's see what we have here. So let me refresh. All right, so you can see this thing is blue, right? The background color is now blue. The first, this is our first class. Sorry for that. This is our first class. Enjoy your session. Okay, cool. So if I should come here now, let's go back to our VS Code. So let's say, for instance, if I give it a width, let's say a width of, let's say 400 px. If I give it 400 px, I want to see how it's going to look. Okay, I've seen how it's going to look already. So let me say 300. Oh, that was so small. Oh, I wrote that. All right, so this 300. So you can see how this 300 looks like now. Please take note of the way it looks like. Oh. Now, if I should put padding to this one, if I should put padding and put 10 px, yeah. If I put 10 px here and then I refresh, hey, I don't know which screen you guys are seeing. You can see my VS Code, but you're not seeing my browser screen. All right, so this is the party code here. So if I should refresh now, how many of you noticed something here?
Yes, I noticed.
Okay, so what did you notice?
There's an expansion on the upper part and lower part.
Okay.
On the blue container, there's an expansion on the bottom and the top.
Okay.
On both sides, on the four sides, sorry.
Okay, okay. You noticed it on both sides.
Up to the top and bottom, then the right and left.
Sorry, this is calling me. Sorry about that.
I think the network's bad.
Okay, yeah, so I can hear you now. Yes, I can hear you. So you said you saw a space around the top, the left, and the bottom, right?
Yes.
Okay, so now if you look at it, you will see that the box is still the same thing. Where you saw space is actually kind of within that box.
Within the box.
Um,
Okay.
Yeah. You know, look, let's try and make it. Hey, where's that VS Code? Okay.
Maybe we can go back
So
to the code again. Okay.
let me go back to 50. If I put 50 px here as the padding, let's see how it's going to play out. So if I should refresh now, do you notice anything? That this thing is actually creating space in between.
Okay.
Can you see that it's creating space in between? So what is padding meant for? Padding is meant to create space within the particular container.
Is it within the box or within that container?
Yes,
Box
in
container.
between the box. Yeah, within the box. The box is the container, right?
Oh, yes.
So it's creating space in between the container. So it's not really
Okay.
creating space outside. It's
Oh,
creating space in between. So now
okay.
that is how padding, that is what it's meant for. Padding creates space within. So let's say, for instance, here we want to I want to duplicate this. So if I should duplicate this now. So let me say the width should be like 350. So let me refresh now. So we can see what I'm trying to say. All right, so we have two boxes here. All right, so you can see we have two boxes here. 1, 2. So let's go to our VS Code and see. All right, so now we have two things here. We have two things. So let me say this one is container 1. This one is container 2. Container 1, container 2. So I'll go back to our style and say this one is container 1. So I'll copy this one. I'll duplicate it. I'll say this one is container 2. Container 2. So I'll say this one should be red. The color for this one should be red. Now, I will not add margin to this one. I will only add margin. So if I add margin to it and say margin of 20 px here, let me add margin of 20 px. So now that I've added margin, if I should go back and then refresh. Oh, did you notice anything here?
Yes.
No. What did you notice?
The color of the coordinate changed to red and became smaller.
Okay. Okay, you want to say smaller. You will notice that it created space outside of the what? Of the
Oh,
box.
outside of the box. Okay.
Do you
Okay.
notice? It's
If I can
like,
get you now, the padding is
okay,
within the box and the margin is
yes,
outside of the box.
exactly,
Okay, I got it.
exactly. So the padding works in between the box, while the margin actually works outside of the box. So it creates
Oh,
space outside, not
okay.
within. Yeah. So that's what margin and padding. That's actually how they work. Is that clear now?
Yes. What of if you
Okay.
want to make
Okay.
a padding that will just maybe on the right side of the box, not the entire box, just on the right side. How do you go about that?
Okay. Okay. Now, so how do you now go about that now? What you need to do is to come here. So you know that we have normal padding, we have margin and everything. So now what you can do is that you can do padding right. Let's say I say
Oh,
padding right. I say 50 px
okay.
here, padding right. So I'll
Mm,
comment this. I'll use my control and forward arrow, yeah, forward slash. I'll save,
okay.
then I'll come here, let me go there and then go to our VS Code and then refresh. So can you see that the only padding now we have now is padding right?
Yes, yes, I can see. Yes.
So is that making sense to you now?
Yeah, very well. Yes.
Okay, okay, good. I can see a lot of people left the class today. I don't know what's going on.
I
I
think
don't
maybe the
know.
network, I guess.
Yeah, the network actually been messing up. That's why I had to like settle down for another thing. All right, so you can see the question you just asked now. So you can see you can do margin top, margin right,
Uh,
margin
okay.
bottom, margin left. Yeah, so you can go as much as possible as doing your margin top, margin right, margin left, margin bottom, Just play around with it and see how to make things work. The same thing for padding too as well. It works for padding. So not like it doesn't work for padding. So there's a way we write the shorthand, right? So now let's say for instance, if you want to, so now you know that you might sometimes you might want to have space between left and right. You don't want to have the space at the top and bottom, right?
Yes. Yes.
So now if you now start writing padding right, padding bottom, padding left, padding top, it makes your code
Pardon.
look cumbersome, right? It's more like you are repeating yourself.
Yes. And
Do you
cause
get?
redundancy. Yep.
It's causing redundancy. So now you can see where the CSS, you can see where CSS comes in now. So rather than writing padding, you know that if you write padding normally, padding actually represents everything. It represents top, bottom, left, and right. But
Okay.
yeah, that's what padding represents. But you can now be specific. You can say, okay, I want top, I want bottom, I want left, I want right. So now, aside from using padding, you can now say, okay, oh, I don't want all these things. Oh, this thing went on finally. Okay. Sorry, please. I want to put something off. I want to put my inverter off. Okay, coming. I just want to put it off. Welcome for joy. Welcome, Abesman. I can see you are in the class now.
Yeah, no
Welcome.
wahala.
Okay. All right. So now we can now decide to say, okay, we can say, oh, we want to do padding left, padding top, padding right. But since we don't want to be doing all those things, yeah, we don't want to be doing all those things. Now, what can we do to make sure that doesn't happen? Now we can now say, okay, we want to have our padding. Now, in between the padding now, we can decide to use the shorthand. So how do we, I want to make sure we are recording. So how do we use the shorthand now? How do we use the shorthand? Now, remember I said it works like this. We have the normal padding. It works for top, bottom, left, and right, right? And then we
Yes.
have the padding left, padding right, and the like. So now, we can now have it in a way that we can write the shorthand. We can say, okay, now, it moves anti-clockwise. Sorry, no, it moves clockwise. Sorry about that. It moves
Clockwise,
clockwise.
yes.
That is,
Yeah.
it moves from top to right,
Right.
to bottom, to left.
Bottom and left.
Do you get it? It moves clockwise. Top, right, bottom, left.
Bottom left.
So
yes.
now, if you now want to give your value to it, how do you put your value? So now your value is now going to be something like this. You can now say if you only want the top, and let's say you want the right and left to have a particular padding, and you don't want top and bottom to have padding. What you can do now is that since it works with top, bottom, and this thing, so you can decide to say, okay, top should be 0, right should be 50, bottom should be 0, and then left should be what? 50.
50.
50 px. Say 50 px. I'll say 0 px. I'll say 0 px here. So can you see what we just did now? We did top, we did right, we did bottom, and then we did left. Is it making sense?
Yes, very well.
Okay. So I believe it's very making sense to us. All right, so now that we have it that way, so now that we have it that way now, so there's another shorthand that you can write. The other shorthand you can write is that now if you are inputting two values, that is once, let's say for example, you don't want to be writing all this long thing. You just want to write two values for the two of them. You can decide to write 0 px and 50 px. 0 px and 50 px. Now, if you write 0 px and 50 px, that shows that you mean top and bottom should be 0, left and right should be what? Should be 50.
Okay.
Do you get this thing? This one works for overall, right?
Yes.
Now,
Yes.
this one, let me comment it. All right, so now this one works for what? It works for top,
Overall
right,
too.
bottom, left. Look at it, yes. It works for top,
Yes.
right, bottom, left. Top, right, bottom, left. But this one only works for what? Top and what? Top and bottom. Do you get? It works for only top and the bottom. Do you get? That's how padding works. So the same way, sorry, you want to ask something?
Yes. For
Okay,
the
so
0 px and 50 px, the 0 px stands for top and bottom, right?
yes,
And the 50 px stands for right and left.
yes, exactly,
Okay.
exactly. So that's just the difference between them. So there's nothing much, there's nothing, much with them. So is that clear now?
Yeah, very clear, sir.
Okay, very good, very good. So the same thing with this margin, it also works for with the same with this padding, it also works for margin that way. It works for margin that way too. So they are more
Okay.
like the same thing. Yeah, it works for margin that way too. So they are more like the same thing. Do you get? They're more like the same thing. So we have the margin right, margin left, margin top, margin bottom, and the likes. So you can also decide to say, okay, we have margin this, we have margin that, we have margin this. So you can say margin top and margin bottom. You can decide to represent them with all these values here. You can decide to represent them with one value, that is top, bottom, left, and right overall. You can decide to pick maybe top, bottom, and then left, right should be the same thing. And you can decide to pick that, oh, you want to pick top and bottom should be 0, while right and left should be 50. So you can do the same thing with the margin. I hope that's very clear to you.
Yes, very clear, sir.
Okay. So wow, we've done padding, we've done margin. Wow, that's good. We've done the shorthand. I'm just looking at the shorthand and everything. No?
Mm.
Okay, so in the next class, we are going to be looking at display property. That's on Saturday. We are going to be starting with display property here.
Display
That's going to be
property.
our next class. Yes, that's going to be our next class. So, I don't know why network was so bad today. I really don't know why. I'm not sure. I don't know. Although I've been having network issues too for a while now. Or I really don't know why our network now went bad. Like a lot of people joined the class and then they left. I really wish they are going to watch the video. So please, next class, you guys just come prepared though, because I'm going to give you assignments in the next class. I'm going to give you assignments in the next class, but it's still going to be based on what we've done already. It's not going to be outside of what we did. Do you get? Just going to be like questions in the this thing that you can actually answer them. But please, I want to see our assignments on the group. I want to see our assignment so I can actually check it out and access everybody. Do you get? Please, I want to see our assignment. It's actually very important. So you guys, thank you very much for joining today's class. I really appreciate for joining and then also staying to the end. So even though network did a lot of people bad thing.
Thank you very much,
But
sir.
thank
We
you.
appreciate
Yes, you're welcome. Even though Daniel didn't really participate in any of the class today, he was just joining the class, forcing himself to join the class. Thank you very much for joining, Daniel. At least, even though while you're still not 100% available, you're still making sure that okay, you are still showing commitment to the class. So you guys, thank you very much for joining. Thank you very much for joining. I really appreciate it. So let me stop the
All right.
recording. Yes, so you guys should have a great night and then have a productive week.
And thank you. Have a nice time. Thank you. You're going to review what you've done today by